Hi guys! Some of you may be very interested in learning how to use presentational aids for a speech because you can earn bonus points for using them in your celebratory speech, your informative speech, and your persuasive speech. So let's go over what my expectations are for you using your visual aids. But first, I want to give you some tips and tricks. You see that I have, you can see my picture in the corner, and you can see the PowerPoint slides that I have up. I did that through screencast-o-matic.com. They have a program that you can download onto your computer for free to be able to do this if you have a webcam. And this was the easiest way for me to do it. Another trick that if you are using PowerPoint to start your PowerPoint to get into slideshow view, all you have to do is press F5 and it'll go straight there. So it's really helpful, and you can just use the arrow keys to progress through slides. But I also want to note that you don't have to, first off, you don't have to use a visual aid or a presentational aid at all. Second off, you can use PowerPoint. You can also use Prezi, or you can use a poster. And you will, regardless of which you choose, the rules that I talk about here apply across the board. So first, I want to talk about presentational skills. Then I'm going to talk about the slides, and then I'll discuss some rules for pictures. And slides will hold true whether it's for Prezi or for posters as well. So let's go ahead and talk about presentational skills. Now, if you're not using Screenshot-O-Matic or Screencast-O-Matic or something like that, where you can see your head and the whole slide, and you're actually holding a poster, or you're using Prezi and you aren't able to do this, it's really important to stand to the side of your presentational aid. You never want to face your presentational aid or to stand in front of it, block it in other words, because your audience will no longer be able to see it, and so it's kind of making it a waste. The next thing that you want to keep your mind on is to keep your eyes on the prize. You want to make sure that you are looking at your audience primarily and not at your presentational aid, whether that be the poster, the Prezi, or the PowerPoint. You want to make sure that you are focused on your audience because it's all about the audience. You don't want your presentational aid to take over your presentation, because this is about you and your audience, about your relationship with your audience. That's the whole goal of public speaking. And so if you focus on the presentational aid and you keep your attention on the presentational aid, then you're making it about the presentational aid instead of your audience and your relationship with the audience. So now that we've talked about presentational skills, let's talk about what you need to focus on for your slides. Now, the theme of this is that you need to be focused on your audience. So you want to make sure that your audience can see everything that's on your presentational aid. So let's talk about accessibility. The first thing that I want you to think about is your pictures. First off, we're going to talk about your pictures more later on, but I want you to be mindful that you should only have one picture per slide, and it should take up about half of your slide. I don't want your slide background to be a picture, but you can have one picture per slide or per poster, but it should take up about half the size because you want it to be large enough that your audience can see it with ease and not have to strain their eyes. The next thing that I want you to be mindful of is you should have a white background and black text. Those are the two easiest things to see. They have the most contrast between the colors. So someone who's even colorblind will be able to see what's written on your slide. You can have colored pictures. So that rule doesn't apply to that. It's just relating to the background and the text. The next thing that you want to keep in mind of is the amount of text that you have on your slide. So you should follow the 6x6 rule. You should have no more than 6 lines of text and no more than 6 words per line on the text. If you have questions about what that is, feel free to ask. You also want to make sure that you're following the KISS rule, the Keep It Simple Silly rule. And what that means is you should have no animations, meaning you don't have your text flying in or your slides flying in. You don't have your text coming in on your clicks. We do that for multiple reasons. One, it's a distraction to your audience. It makes your presentational aid be about the presentational aid instead of being about communicating information. It also sometimes doesn't work. And when I say sometimes, I mean it usually doesn't work how you have it planned. And so you end up getting derailed as a speaker because things aren't working out as you planned. So just keep it simple. That's why we have white text, black background. Black text and white background, sorry. You just keep it simple with one picture per slide. So it's not just about accessibility, but it's also about keeping it from being a distraction to your audience. So now that we've talked about the slides, let's go ahead and talk about what your picture should be. First thing to keep in mind is they shouldn't be offensive. So you don't want to have pictures that will make your audience fixate on what those pictures are and how they make them feel. Instead, they should just enhance your presentation. You don't want to distract your audience. So let's say you're doing a presentation on abortion. Your gut reaction may be to show aborted babies on the screen. But no matter what someone feels about abortion, that picture is going to take over your whole presentation. Your audience is going to fixate on how does that picture make them feel instead of what you're saying. Your pictures also need to be of good quality. So you want to make sure that they're not pixelated or distorted. Once again, you need to have one per slide. You shouldn't have multiple per slide because if you have multiple pictures per slide, you have to make them so small to fit them all on there that they're hard to see. Again, enhance presentation, not distract. And finally, no clip art. If you have questions on what clip art is, feel free to ask. But you need to use real pictures, either that you personally take or that you pull from Google Images. So we've talked about how to use presentational aids, and I want to re-emphasize that it's all about helping your audience understand what you're talking about and building that relationship with your audience. So only use a presentational aid if it's going to enhance your presentation, if it's going to enhance your relationship with your audience, or if it's going to make it easier for your audience to follow your presentation. If it's not, don't do it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and just remember to keep it simple, silly. See you next time.